And welcome everyone to another episode 17, Dark Live Podcast. I'm your host, Live to Win, and here with me, as always, my co-host. His profile says Canada, but his passport says he's Puerto Rican. It's Dark Fox 47.
Hey.
Oh, man. Uh, Not a whole lot of news, but I don't know, I just kind of explained a little bit with kind of Dark. I basically just got a whole bunch of information. I'm not going to go too much into it, but there is one particular individual that I do want to bring up, just mainly because he's a voice actor that I kind of heard of, and I actually didn't know that he played some of these characters. And his name is Kenji Fujiwara. Sadly, he kind of passed away a little bit. Dark is actually going to come across one of his characters. His name is I think it's Homer Nishiki Tani from Yakuza 0. He also did some voice acting for the latest Final Fantasy VII remake. Apparently, he plays the character Reno. He also did, I believe, Maze Hughes from Full Metal Alchemist.
I know that guy.
And so if you listen to the Japanese versions, there's a good chance you probably hear Kenji Fujiwara on that doing those characters. And I kind of felt like I had to bring him up because we're going to be talking about Yakuza in a minute, but he played a voice in Full Metal Alchemist, and I know Dark is a huge fan of that. And
I've
so,
only watched the English, the
yeah.
English version. So immediately once you said he's Japanese voice actor, I'm like, I know the character. I don't know the Japanese voice.
It's all good. But I just wanted to bring him up because just real quick, I'm not going to go, again, too much into it, but I thought his role as Nishiki Tani in Yakuza 0, I thought was really good. Dark hasn't come across that character yet. He's going to be seeing him later on. I believe he makes 2, maybe 3 appearances in Yakuza 0, and I just wanted to bring that up real quick because I thought his acting was really good in that. Played his role very well, and sadly he passed away recently of cancer at 55. So I just a little something to just kind of bring up. Other than that, not a whole lot of other news that is really worth mentioning. So unless Dark has something, go ahead.
Well, first off, Liv, I want to just take a minute to appreciate how nicely the new Discord thing on our little layout actually works. I was a little interested. I'm like, oh, is that gonna mess it up too much? But no, it looks fine with the boxes, and the doesn't look half bad.
Yeah.
Just thought I'd throw that out there immediately. News-wise, the only thing news-wise would be I could think of is, and I've talked about it a couple times already. Well, not on the podcast. It's the podcast. It's completely different, even though the same people watch this as the streams. With XCOM Chimera Squad coming out next Friday, just out of nowhere. It was literally Tuesday. Tuesday they released. It's like, hey, it's coming out the 24th. It's like, that's in 10 days.
Yeah, I heard about that too, and basically the gist of it is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought I heard it's basically like XCOM 2.0 or XCOM 2.5 is basically what it kind of feels like. It's it's XCOM, but it's like a standalone, if I remember correctly. So
that is correct.
So yeah, you will know more about it. So I'll let you just take the floor on this one.
I know as much as they've released, which is not much at all. Just read the Steam page. That's all the information that's been released. But So XCOM Chimera Squad takes place 5 years after um, the events of XCOM 2. After the basically you've kicked the elders out off of Earth, and now you're left with all of these aliens races now, all these different aliens who used to be, part of the elders' army, and now suddenly the planet is full of humans and aliens, and how do you sort of come to grips with that and kind of merge society and such. So it takes place 5 years after, and you're part of a joint group of aliens and humans who want to see success in the cooperative, just cooperating with each other and learning to live in peace. So basically, you're in charge. Basically, your team, Chimera Squad, is in charge of protecting City 31, which is going to prove to be the founding thing. Like, this is the city that will make or break whether or not humans and aliens can actually live together peacefully. And it's your job to make sure that project does not fail, that you deal with all of the I think there'd probably be remnant elements of the Advent administration. Definitely groups of discontent aliens and humans seeking to take advantage of the situation, and just aliens who probably are still wish to carry out the Elder's will and seek to destroy humanity for what they've done. So it looks like it's gonna be super interesting. So yeah, it's kind of like actually going back to the mechanics in the first game. Liv, did you play the first game or the second game?
I believe I played the first game. Never completed it because basically other games just kind of like happen. That's
Right.
kind of usually how I am with most games. But
Mhm.
the time I did have on it was fun. Still looking forward to XCOM 2. Maybe one of these days I'll get around to actually completing it,
Yeah.
uh, but it is fun. And yeah, at least with this new one, Chimera, I believe it's the only thing that I know about it in particular is that you can now, and I'm sure Dark already said this, is that you basically can now have aliens on your team now because they're just kind of like living together. That's basically the gist of like what I know, and yeah, so my
Yeah.
information is kind of limited, so I figured Dark might know more.
Oh, it's really limited, just because they just released stuff on it.
Right.
So it's
Because
like,
this information is relatively fresh. It just kind of came out of left field, it seemed like.
mhm,
So,
which is not bad.
yeah, yeah.
I was kind of like, oh, a new XCOM thing. I was like, okay, I don't know. I mean, I bought some games. I'm like, not sure. And it's like $15. It's like 50% on sale. I'm like, yeah, I'm picking this up. That's cheap. That's like dirt cheap
hmm
for what I'll probably get out of it. So yeah, but oh, I wanted to say that the mechanics, like, you remember how the panic mechanic worked?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That so basically it's like that, but within city districts. So eventually, like, if it's if certain amount of districts get get to max panic, eventually just the whole thing will collapse, like how it did in the first game, where too
Mm.
many countries pull out of XCOM, well, the world's fucked. Um, Not that it mattered, because canonically, the world got fucked. I mean, you put up a hell enough of a fight that the elders were like, dude, the commander's fucking badass. We need him to train our troops.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting. And I'm curious as to, because it seems like it's a standalone, but it's also going to be a bridging into XCOM 3, which one of the things I really hope for XCOM 3 was both, like, it's the humans and the aliens working together against a common enemy,
Right.
which I was so hoping for that because it would add such a new dynamic. One, it would be a completely new roster of enemies. Not that I don't love the old enemies, get fucking annoyed and hate the old enemies. Because goddamn those fucking mutons and throwing their grenades when I move two guys together and I forget that they have grenades. um, but yeah, as far as I'm aware, I think there's only, well, from what I remember seeing, which I could be wrong, I remember seeing a sectoid, a viper, and a muton. So I can remember seeing it says there's 11 agents, so at least 3 of them are aliens. There might be more. I could just not be remembering them, but those are the 3 I remember.
Right.
So I'm gonna be playing that day one. It's gonna be cool. You just hope the new XCOM gets mod support. The Chimera Squad or XCOM 3. I mean, I don't care if I feel like Chimera it's going to be more story driven. It's going to be like these characters all have names and backstories and skill sets, and it's much more about tactics in that. Because if a Chimera member dies during a mission, you fail that mission. So it's not. Some people are like, man, bring back permadeath, but it's like this is which is sort of what leans into um it's a split off and like a more story driven transition between, well, we just freaking wreck shit in 2 and how things are going to be in 3. So I'm actually going to be interested to see how the story elements play out, because I felt like story elements, they were interesting, but they weren't the main focus, I guess. I mean, the gameplay was more or less the main focus, but I'm going to be interested to see how the story is. And also, I'm going to be really looking forward to the end and seeing if and how it's going to set up XCOM 3. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that next Friday.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. From what I played of XCOM 1, I will definitely say the gameplay was a little bit more of like, kind of, more of like the reason why I kept going with the game. The story seemed kind of linear, kind of pretty much straightforward, direct, humans versus aliens, and just kind of go from there. But yeah, it was still fun though. So really excited to see what this new XCOM is going to be like, and hopefully you see some things from this that would hopefully pop up in XCOM 3. So yeah, it's definitely going to be fun. Other than that, I was going to talk about Valorant, but it already kind of happened, so there's no need to talk about Valorant. I heard about that. I was actually going to talk about Valorant last podcast, but didn't have time for it. Went almost 3 hours, so I think it's kind of good to just skip that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that's relatively it that I have for news. So I guess we could go ahead and get into Halo and Yakuza talk. So I guess we could talk about, Halo first. So
Sure.
all I just know is I'm still going through the game. Haven't completed my first Halo game yet. Going to be doing Reach after what is it? Combat Evolved. I kind of stopped at a part in the game where I was hearing the term head crabs, so I guess that's a decent way to describe those particular enemy targets. So Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I mean, I've actually, well, funny enough, from seeing the VR game, Alex, that VR game, that Half-Life VR game, I actually know what head crabs are. Um, not, it's not really head crabs. It's much more dangerous than head crabs. If a single head crab had if a single head crab had the capacity to destroy an entire species and render a world inhospitable, then yes, head crabs are the equivalents of the flood. As I doubt head crabs can do that, the flood are infinitely more dangerous.
And
Um,
no, go ahead. Thought you were
no,
done.
no, what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna continue on saying that basically I'm still going through the game,
Mhm.
and at the moment I'm kind of enjoying the gameplay of the game so far. Story seems kind of, I don't necessarily want to say generic, but it's it's just straightforward. You kind of have like a leader. He's kind of on the. At first, you just see him as a leader, but it turns out that he might be somewhat behind of the events that are taking place. So that seems to be kind of like the story I'm kind of getting at from my gameplay, and it's overall it's kind of it's fun. I think my favorite mission so far easily had to been the one to where I think that was the one to where I was introduced to the sniper rifle. You were able to there was kind of like a sneaky mode to it.
Oh, Truth and Reconciliation. Yes.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite one just because it was like a different change of pace. Because like everything before, you just kind of like a bunch of attacks and you just kind of have to like fight off waves, and then here was like a moment where you could kind of like slow down and just kind of like take your pace, and I kind of like that dynamic, just to kind of like change things up so that way it's not always just go out, kill, kill, kill. You actually could be I was trying my best to like line up my shots and move on, and so yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. Looking forward to what Reach has. Not sure if I would ever do the multiplayer at some point. I think I have to, but um, I want to see about my account. I want to see if I could get my old one, but it looks like I might have to stick with this new one. So
Probably. Yeah, you had a hell of a time getting things working. That was like, it was an
yeah, I
8
think
hour
it took like
stream,
an
but
hour just to like
yeah, it
get to
was an
my
8 hour
first game,
stream,
and it's like all I just
an
want to do
hour
is the
was
single player. I mean, I get that I got to log in because you want to have a multiplayer function, but if you're just going to do single player, you don't need online to do single player. So, and again, that's not going to be credited to like my overall opinion of the game. It's just
yeah.
a mild inconvenience. There's a reason why I used to have a live email account, and then all of a sudden they like wanted passwords. Well, passwords is kind of mandatory, but like they wanted like a cell phone linked to the account, so that way you could have what is it, 2 stage uh, authentication, and I mean that's fine, but it just made it more of an issue, and it's like, screw this, I'm going with someone else, and I kind of never looked back. So I was kind of hoping I would never have to go back to my live account
Yeah.
ever again. But
You do own the email account you signed it up with, right?
own? What do you
Well,
mean?
don't you need an email account for that, or do you need an email account to get a Microsoft account or not?
That is one of the options. I think you can link a email account to
Oh,
it.
okay, so it's optional. Okay.
Well, at least it used to be. I don't know if it is anymore, but
Well,
uh,
you just set one up, so I would imagine you should know the answer.
well, basically, I had no choice but to set a email account to this one because like I don't want the same thing to happen again. So
Right.
anyway, but yeah, I linked the account, so everything should be okay. But still, it's again a mild inconvenience. I just don't like dealing with. I just hate the fact that you have to do something to just do single player. I think there's a similar thing with Rockstar, and it's mild inconvenience is the best way I could describe it and put it. So yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, at least you got through it though.
Yeah, I got through it, so it's all good now. I guess this is gonna be my main account for multiplayer, so I'll try and over time set things up to where I want it the way I want it, and to see what happens. Go from there. But yeah, I that's about it from what I could think of from my gameplay. But obviously, if you want to hear a more in-depth story of like what's going on, obviously Dark, he's a fan of the series, so he would know more of like what's going on. Um, so yeah, you you were with me throughout that entire
I did. I watched the
gameplay,
entire
so
stream.
you would know more of what's going on. So take it away.
Um. Well, okay. How do you mean?
Uh,
Like story-wise? Like
I
I
guess.
general game stuff? I'm not sure where you are instantly I start.
Well, I guess. Well, for one, do you have any questions for me? I guess that would be. I guess that could be like one thing. Like I don't know. Well, then again, I already kind of answered like favorite mission, but
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I guess probably. I guess a good place to start is probably like where we're at with the story. To just kind of because we have. I think his name is Keys. Is the main kind of commander that is
Yeah. Captain Keys.
Captain Keys. So like story is he was um I guess head of this team and then events took place, so I guess kind of go into that.
Ah, okay. So no one can see this because I don't have video on. Because that would just be overcomplicated as hell to do. But I currently have my Best of Platinum Hits Xbox edition of Halo Combat Evolved for the original Xbox. And in my hand is the manual, back when they did manuals for
The good old days.
the game. And there is the story so far. Like, they have, like, this is everything, this is basically the gist of what's going on in this universe. This was like, which is super impressive because this is like the first game. This was also like 2001 Halo launched, and it launched with the original Xbox. But it's I'm not. I'll read the story so far thing, but it's got a thing on like the Pillar of Autumn and its crew, like hey, talking about Keys, Cortana, like the Marines you fight alongside. There's a section that talks about the different Covenant species, and then there's a section that just is all the weapons, and it tells you the canonical calibers. Like this is what this gun shoots. Like this gun fires a 12.7 millimeter semi armor piercing high explosive rounds. It's just all of this in depth. Like it even tells you like the wattage of like the kilovolts of like what the Covenant plasma weapons do. It's just so funny how it's like it's a different time when manuals and shit like there was entire these were like well thought out, and this is just like a first game in a series that they're like, I don't know if people will like it, which people absolutely loved it, and it made the Xbox. Um, just a different time. So I guess I'll start off with reading the story so far. The year is 2552. Planet Earth still exists, but overpopulation has forced many of her former residents to colonize other worlds. Faster than light travel is now a reality, and Earth's unified government, through the United Nations Space Command, has put its full weight behind the colonization effort. Millions of humans now live on habitable planets in other solar systems. A keystone of humanity's colonization efforts is the planet Reach, an interstellar naval yard that builds colony ships for civilians and warships for the UNSC's armed forces. Conveniently close to Earth, Reach is also a hub of scientific and military activity. 32 years ago, contact with the outer colony Harvest was lost. A battle group sent to investigate was almost completely destroyed. Only one badly damaged ship returned to Reach. Its crew told of a seemingly unstoppable alien warship that had effortlessly annihilated their forces. This was humankind's first encounter with a group of aliens they eventually came to know as the Covenant, a collective of alien races united in their fanatic religious devotion. Covenant religious elders declared humanity an affront to the gods, and the Covenant warrior caste waged a holy war upon humanity with gruesome diligence. After a series of crushing defeats and obliterated colonies, UNSC Admiral Preston Cole established the Cole Protocol. No vessel may inadvertently lead the Covenant to Earth. When forced to withdraw, ships must avoid earthbound vectors, even if that means jumping without proper navigational calculations. Vessels in danger of capture must self-destruct. On Reach, a secret military project to create cyborg super soldiers takes on newfound importance. The soldiers of the Spartan II project rack up an impressive record against the Covenant in test deployments, but there are too few of them to turn the tide of the war. Existing Spartan II soldiers are recalled to Reach for further augmentation. The plan: board a Covenant vessel with the improved Spartan IIs and learn the location of the Covenant homeworld. 2 days before the mission begins, Covenant forces strike Reach and annihilate the colony. The Covenant are now on Earth's doorstep. One ship, the Pillar of Autumn, escapes with the last Spartan II and makes a blind jump into deep space, hoping to lead the Covenant away from Earth. I did. And yes, that is from the original manual. Yep. It's just, I still think I can't think of any other Xbox game I ever played where it's just that kind of stuff was in a manual. It's one that sticks out in my memory and that I will forever keep because that's just awesome and how manuals should be done. Just have some fun stuff in there as well as helpful gameplay mechanics and such. So yeah, story-wise, that was all that happens before that. Now we get into the opening events of Halo. The Pillar of Autumn makes a blind jump and finds itself. That's a detailed story, I know, and that's just like in the manual. It gets way more detailed, and yeah, more or less the story's the same. Also very confident that the game would be a hit when there's such a backstory. I mean, yeah, I feel like if you pull a lot of like if people notice that you get more out of a game if you can tell that the people who made it really put like all into it. That gives a little more like appreciation for the game, is having like all of this extra stuff. Like it's not a guarantee, but like it doesn't hurt to go that extra little bit. I need to take a drink of water. Hold on.
It's all good. But yeah, I just been having a lot of fun, just kind of discovering basically new games. So for me, it's a new game, and I'm just happy to kind of basically just kind of enjoy the game that Dark really enjoys. So
Okay. So yeah, it's just really cool that they did that. So
Mhm.
anyway, story up to where Liv is. Pillar of Autumn jumps in, and they jump into the system where they find there's this giant ass ring world, aka Halo. And to their surprise, there's already a Covenant force waiting for them, or waiting there at the ring. So they engage the Covenant forces and hold out for as long as they can until they're forced to evacuate because they've been being overwhelmed by the superior Covenant ships. Lore-wise, it's a general rule of thumb that the UNSC has a chance at beating one Covenant ship if it's 3 UNSC ships of the same tonnage of a single Covenant ship. That's sort of how the math is, but even then, a Covenant ship will usually still win most of the time in those situations. Really, the ironic thing is that the UNSC wins more land battles, and I think they only win like 1 or 2 space battles the entire Human Covenant War.
Damn.
Like they're just outclassed in space. But yeah, you land on Halo, and you're working on like trying to deny like the you're trying to form a resistance, wage some war against the Covenant here on Halo, try and get the captain back. Then you find out that the Covenant are interested in Halo, so you need to secure the so you go and you secure the control room of Halo to deny the Covenant it. And then you find out, well, Cortana is very vague at this point. It's like, oh god, something bad's happening, Chief, you need to go stop the captain. And you go to try and stop the captain, and you find out that the Covenant have released a parasitic life form known as the Flood that has been contained within this ring. And that's about up to where Liv is with the story. I was very vague there, but
yeah, it's all good because I'm still kind of going through it. So
yeah.
I'm gonna be continuing that hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully finish Combat Evolve tomorrow. So
yeah.
It's gonna be a lot of fun to kind of see what happens there, and eventually, I don't know if I'm gonna start. I probably will start Reach tomorrow, depending on how long I go. I at least want like a good 3-4 hours, I think. So as long as that's kind of how long it takes, we'll probably see how Reach is, get started on that. So
yeah, I mean 3 or 4 hours for the last 4 missions. That sounds well. You're on normal, so should be good. Excuse me. You guess the parasites become more of a threat throughout the story. Like I said, a single flood spore can destroy an entire species. You can't let it's yeah. I can't really say much more that won't be eventually revealed in future games, but I think I'll just leave it there that the Flood are super dangerous and intelligent, evident by the fact that they use weapons.
And then, of course, there is Yakuza 0. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I gotta know, how you feeling about your first, I believe it's 2 streams you did so far?
3.
Oh, you did 3. Okay, nice.
I didn't do it. I did a couple side stories last stream and a lot of eating food and failing at disco. So didn't miss a lot.
Yeah, I always sucked with some of the mini games. Karaoke, I'm just absolutely terrible. The disco, basically almost anything that involves rhythm games, yeah, I'm gonna be horrible at, but they're still fun and enjoyable, so. But you also did come across some very funny and interesting side stories. How were some of those that you went through?
Oh god. The Off the top of my head, yeah, the dominatrix one, and then the oh, you did miss that one. You missed the one with the guy at the video store. That was that was an interesting one as well. The guy who keeps watching the same girl at the adult video store every single day.
Yep.
That was at the end. No, it wasn't. Josh was like, "This is worse than the dominatrix one." I got to the end of it. I'm like, "No, the dominatrix one." I was like, the entire way through it. At least at the end of the video one, it was kind of more humorous.
Right.
I was just uncomfortable the whole way through with the whole dominatrix one. That was something.
That was definitely something for sure. Yeah.
Side stories are definitely a highlight in that game. Not much to say on the story because I haven't really gone very far into it. I've been framed for murder, and there's an empty lot that everyone wants because real estate money.
Yeah, that's basically the gist of it so far. Yeah, the whole. We're going to be talking a lot about Yakuza as Dark progresses, but yeah,
not like you don't already.
He only like scratched the surface. Probably not even scratched the surface of this game. I think he's only at chapter 2, I believe, and he's got a long way to go. It's basically. I do need to point this out. For anyone that is new to Yakuza, any Yakuza game is going to be very slow. It's going to be... Because, while most games, they want you to just get to point A to point B, with Yakuza, they take it nice and slow. So you get more of a feel of like what's going on. It's much easier to have a 10-minute conversation than a full 10-minute cutscene and just like end it there and move on. Like the cutscene itself would be like 20 minutes, and then it's like 10 minutes of like dialogue and stuff, and so they just kind of take their pace. So but yeah, but that's kind of like the gist of the story where Dark's at so far. Him and his friend Nishiki, the main character you play as is Kiryu, Kazuma Kiryu. He did end up discovering that there is like a surrogate father. He definitely plays more of a role in the next Yakuza. He does make an appearance in 2 as well, but it's can't really go into that without spoilers. Got me hearing a lot of that term as we progress. But yeah, there's a lot of funny side quests that you just come across. As he just mentioned, the dominatrix. I thought that one was funny just simply based on the fact that I just found it funny, the idea that she's in an adult entertainment business and she doesn't even know her own occupation. Like, she needs to actually learn how to do this. And just...
Yeah, how she got the job in the first place is beyond me.
I guess she has the look and she was able to get through the door. That's the only thing I could figure. And it just gets even weirder when you get kids involved, and that is just... That was me the entire... Oh, you were there, yeah. Me just constantly pointing out, there are fucking kids over there. Yep.
Like, we're doing this in a park, and there are kids over there, and for the entire time I'm doing that, I'm wondering, like, maybe it's just random chance. Like, maybe it's just that it just happens that those character models are there during the time we were doing it, and then they actually walked over, and I was like, oh god, no, they're actually part of this whole thing the whole time.
Oh yeah, and
I was like, no.
Well, it was very easy to say, no, get out of all the places you decided to pick to rehearse this, you picked a public park.
Not only that, but the kids were there before. They've been there.
They were there long before they even showed up.
And it's not like it's a big park.
Oh,
they're like
God.
2 feet away.
And then I remember in my first playthrough, I forget if I don't think I've came across it yet in my second playthrough. Which, by the way, I'm actually going through Yakuza 0 myself. Not only I have like a project in mind. Basically, I have like a lot of love and passion for Yakuza in the series. So I thought maybe I could do a video that could hopefully mirror that and be able to like touch on some stuff. And that's kind of like the gist of the project. And basically, it's like a love song to a love note to basically a game that kind of. I mean, I never been punched in the soul by a game before, and this is the first game that did it, and it just speaks a lot to me, and I just want to like be able to like show that, and I was hoping that maybe I could show Dark that as well, but because it's so slow, I'm predicting that maybe somewhere around chapter 4. Maybe even chapter like 8, I think there's going to be like a moment to where it's like I'm doing the same thing over and over again. I'm running into guys on the street. They all want to fight me. And it's like, if you focus on the main story, I could guarantee you're going to like this game. And it's... Yeah, and anyway, just kind of sorry for just being a fan and just like sidetracking, but... Kind of going back to the Dominatrix, I remember in my first playthrough, I just thought it was absolutely hilarious. Every single time when Kiryu would just, what am I doing? And he like stares off into the distance, just looking up. My first thought is, there's gotta be a guy in a apartment somewhere. Look here, you goddamn motherfucker, there's fucking kids on the what are you doing? Damn it, fucking damn, you bitch! He's just losing his shit. He sees what's going on, and he is just appalled. And the whole time, Carrie was just like, man, I really need to do something. You son of a bitch! There's kids right there, you motherfucker! You need to stop doing this in front of the kids! Think of the children! I just remember thinking that, and just... Well, again, it's... I believe I brought this up when I was talking about Halo, is if you're not having fun, make your own fun. And that was definitely a moment to where I was like, make your own fun. This is perfect. That's all I could think about. And thank God they did that shot multiple times so I could just come up with new material as it kept popping up. Oh God, I just love that scene, just based on that fact alone. Like, I just saw it, and I just like, there has to be a guy somewhere on, like, the 4th, maybe even 10th floor, and he's just looking down, possibly enjoying a cigarette, just minding his own business. One of his kids may even go to that park, and he's like, yeah, I can take my kids out, and we'll have a great time. Who the hell is that? That ain't a Yakuza, is it? And then, like, all of a sudden, like, the cigarette just goes, like he doesn't care about the cigarette anymore. Oh my God. Not in front of the kids. What the hell is this? And it's, yeah. I just thought that idea was just absolutely hilarious. I don't know how they would play that into Yakuza if that were to happen, because that would kind of, like, mess up the dynamic of, like, what they were trying to do there. But still, though, the idea... I just thought that would be so hilarious. So I thought that was funny. And then, of course, the park. You're going to be coming across a lot of this in Yakuza, to where, at least I remember it more so in Zero than anything else, but there are going to be moments to where there's going to be the setup to where you practice what the you do a dry one. You do a dry run before the wet run. Because I remember the Yakimichi Silvers was the exact same way. I never even seen a boob! Oh. Good old Christian boys. Oh, man. Good Christian boys. Oh, that was another one of my favorites. Yakimichi Silvers. It's so funny. You got good Christian boys. No. Go ahead.
That was, I've only done the first one. Apparently they come around again for a second one, if I get what Josh was saying correctly, because I missed out on an item because I didn't ace it. I got 2 of the 3 right. I got what was it? The guy in the middle. Like, I was like, hey, just hang out with bros. Like, say you're shooting the shit or something. And then I was like, yeah, that's perfect. And then he did the thing, and then he just completely bombed. And I was like, it's not, how is that my fault? How is it my fault that he fucked that up? Okay? How? How is it my fault that you fucked that up? You should, I told you, just say that you were shooting the shit. You're like, we made pancakes and went for tea and walked our dogs. Like, why? It's not my fault. That's on you. Anyway.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
I just love that one so much. But like the structure of how the dominatrix played out and the Yakimichi Silvers was more or less the same setup. Is you have a dry run to where you just kind of like, okay, so I'm a fan. Here's a question. What do you do? And you just like answer to the best of your ability, and then eventually you're in front of the real crowd, and then the same thing, and then you see your answers come up, and by doing that, you see if you passed or not, and that's same structure just kind of happened with the dominatrix, to where you're in a park, and exactly like with the customer, you have people come up, and then you don't miss a beat. You gotta keep going, and yeah, it's very out there. It's, oh god. Any thoughts on the low level Yakuza and RQ3? Any thoughts there of like, because I think the I kind of felt like you. Yeah.
Oh, that one. The one where
you were in front of Don Quixote, which by the way, is a real store in Japan. It's called Don Quixote, and if you look at your map, you could, if you hover over it, it would even say Don Quixote. But it's a real store, and while standing in line, there was a brand new game that was just coming out, RQ3, and there's this little kid, which, by the way, you're going to be coming across a lot of this in Yakuza, to where you just get like these really wholesome stories, and believe me, if you have a heart, you're gonna love these.
It was really wholesome when he pulled the gun on me.
Hey, those were 3 love shots, man. Those were 3 love shots. Why can't you just acknowledge that? He loved you.
They were friendship bullets. That's why we were friends.
Yeah, friendship bullets. But it's just the idea that here's a kid, he's looking forward to a game, he gets it, he gets mugged by a high school student, and then he runs off.
Like a nerd, too.
Yes.
He's like a nerd.
And then when he gets mugged by an actual mugger who probably does this for a living, he just rage quits. He wants nothing to do with the game anymore. He doesn't even, apparently, and I quote, I don't even want to see RQ3 anymore. And then you fight him, and then he just runs off because he's a little bitch. And then you find I could only assume is more of an adult, and he gets mugged by a low-level Yakuza, and then same thing happens again. You fight them, you beat them up, they rage quit, and then you get down to the low-level Yakuza, and in your playthrough, 3 love shots, 3 friendship bullets, and then
3 friendship bullets.
All of a sudden, you discover that it's the actual father to the son who started this whole thing. And it's just awesome to see like games just get referenced in video games. So like for me as a gamer, I remember kind of loving that a little bit, just seeing just the idea, like hell, he even brought up, just kind of like how you did like a couple minutes ago, I want to read the manual on the way home. Like, just the passion of like video games. Like if you like you were waiting for a game, you got it, and then you like read through the instruction manual. Like those were the old days that I just love. And seeing that like being portrayed in kind of a new medium, it's just awesome to kind of see that. And for me, I kind of love that, but I don't know if you had like any ideas of or opinions about like that particular sub story. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah.
Yeah, all the sub stories have been interesting. Definitely see why they're considered the best part of the game.
Oh yeah, when you want to laugh, you definitely do the sub stories. There are going to be like a few curveballs. There's one in particular. Can't mention it because spoilers, but there's definitely one that I did not see coming, and it was definitely a very sob story there. But yeah, it's the sub stories is going to be like all over the place. Some of them are going to make you laugh till you cry, and then others it's just going to be you just want to punch someone in the face, and then other times it's just very wholesome, very heartwarming, and then very sad stories as well. It's like all across the board, and that's definitely going to be a key feature when you eventually progress through and really start seeing the full story. I honestly cannot wait until you see Chapter 3. By the way, since we're talking about Yakuza, I do want to point this out. I'm going to try and make it to every stream possible, but even if I miss it, I do want you to know, don't worry about me, just focus on the game. You're going to enjoy it, so if you feel like, Liv's not here, maybe I shouldn't play it, believe me, I saw the sofas. I'm good. I heard about the sofas. Let's get those sofas by the magazine rack. Believe me, dude, I looked it up. To be honest, I'm not gonna lie. I actually thought the same thing that Dark just thought. Yeah, I don't know why. I just started thinking mattresses.
I know. I thought mattresses.
I don't know what it was. My mind just thought mattresses, right? But I don't know.
I can't believe I'm not the only one who thought that.
I thought the same thing. I didn't do it, but I need to look it up. I need to see my first playthrough again because I think I also thought mattresses. I don't know why. I'm an idiot.
I don't know why. Right? I just don't know why I thought mattresses by the magazines.
I want to say I didn't think selling them, but for some reason I thought mattresses. I don't know why.
I 100% thought selling mattresses. Yeah, essentially, I just wanted to make the store an IKEA. After that, like, convenience store to an IKEA, right?
Yeah. But yeah, I did hear about the sofas. And for some reason, at some point, I don't think selling was my idea. I'm pretty sure it was just, why would you want to put a mattress? I guess I was thinking maybe something like that of like, I guess like those, like if you ever seen like a scene from like a therapy session, like someone like talking to their doctor about their problems, their issues. You kind of have like that weird, awkward bed couch kind of type of thing. I guess I was thinking something along the lines of that. Like, I don't think a bed couch is kind of like a very popular thing. So let's just put up a mattress. Just lay down a mattress, and then you could take your magazine and just kind of read. You know, just kick back, relax. You know. But I guess that's what I was thinking, but I definitely, for some reason, I don't know why, my mind thought mattress. I don't know why. It's weird.
It blows my mind that you thought the same thing. I just can't believe that. That you also
I
went
want
mattress.
to look after this podcast. I'm looking that up because I'm pretty sure I thought so. I don't know why I thought sofas equals mattress, but yeah.
I'm pretty sure I said something. I was like, oh, you get your groceries in one hand, you put the sofa, you got the sofa under the other. You got your sofa under your other arm.
Exactly.
So I said sofa,
Exactly.
but I was thinking mattress, and I'm thinking back at that. It's like that makes no sense. It's like, yeah, you just got a whole sofa under your arm. Like that doesn't make any sense. Obviously,
Yeah.
I was thinking something else when I said that.
But yeah, it's definitely, the side stories are definitely out there. So, and again, if I happen to miss a stream, I'm going to watch it eventually. I just may not watch it live.
Yeah.
I would love to be there live, but things just kind of happen, so I just gotta watch it on my own time, I suppose. But still, I'm thoroughly enjoying just seeing Dark just kind of just go through the game and just kind of see his see what he feels about the game. So I'm really looking forward as we definitely move on. So before we move on to clips, I actually need to send Dark something.
Okay.
There is. I kind of thought about this. Basically, I kind of thought about this a couple weeks ago, and I don't want Dark to get disappointed in any way. So I do want to make this very clear. I love and respect Dark. I want him to be successful. I just want to see him do very well. So as a friend, I started thinking, what if we did something? I don't know how much Dark is going to think that I'm going to like Halo, but I've decided. There was a time to where I heard Dark say, like, oh, I want to play this game, and this game. And I remember thinking, wait, I know he has Yakuza. Why wasn't Yakuza mentioned? And then, so that was my original intention, is I kind of wanted to come up with a way to bump up Yakuza on his list. Well, things have changed. He is now playing it, but I want to give him a reason to maybe make it to the end of the game. So, as it stands right now, Chapter 5 is like Dark's main goal. Like, if he makes it to Chapter 5, great. If somewhere along the line he doesn't like it and it's not his thing, I kinda got reimbursed with some money from Halo. A friend of mine didn't think I was gonna like it, so. But I wanted to go a step further. I don't think Dark's a betting man, but too bad. I am. So I've just sent Dark a. Basically, if you want to do this, I am down 110%. Because if Dark loves the game, he is going to praise this anyway. But what if I sweeten the pot? I'm $9 richer. How about, because the actual game Halo was something like $40 for me, and I got it for a discount for something like $31 or something like that. So it's probably like $8 or something. But I'm like $8 richer. I want to sweeten the deal. So $8 richer. I'm gonna sweeten the deal. I'm gonna sweeten that freaking deal. If Dark loves the game, he's gonna praise it. If Dark hates the game, I'll pay him $60 freaking dollars to go through and beat this game. If he hates it, because I'm willing to bet money, he is not going to hate this game. And it's not about winners or losers. It's just simply a friend that is willing to bet money he is not going to hate this game. Now, again, this is just, I wanted Dark to, like, play the game, and this is gonna, like, really hit home. So, I'm sure, I actually even gave, like, a reason why I decided to do this.
I'm reading huge ass terms and conditions you put together.
Yes, this took me something like maybe 4 hours of just constantly thinking, and my intentions kind of changed as time went on. So, like, Dark doesn't have to say yay or nay now, but Dark has this, so he could easily look it over, keep it, delete it, whatever he wants to do. But I'm just... basically, this is just me being a friend, and I really wanted him to try out this game. And before, it was just to simply just play the game. But now, I'm willing to bet money for him to beat it. And he can do it on any difficulty. He doesn't have to stream it. I just want him to play it. And I felt like if I did something a little more out there, Dark will take notice. Because anyone could just say, hey, I want you to try this game. There is passion and love I put into this game. I even just heard Dark say when he was talking about Halo, I love how developers put their love and care into something. There's no doubt in my mind, my first thought was Yakuza 0. Just Yakuza in general, but specifically, this one is something. So, the more I kind of feel like the more I make this ridiculous, to where Dark is gonna remember this. I think
this is something, yeah.
So, basically, the more I make this ridiculous, the more absurd I make this, the more Dark is going to remember this. Mm-hmm. And the more you remember, I feel like when you get your Eureka moment to where, like, okay, this game is actually something. This is not like a half-assed game. This game was well thought out. This game has layers. This game... the way I would describe it is this game is like a chapter book. Do chapter books, like how long does it take you from one end of the book to the other? It's definitely not going to take you a couple hours to, well, of course, depending on the book, you might be able to get it through in a couple hours, but, you know, but typically, like, with chapter books, it might take you, like, a day or two to, like, kind of go through it. And I see that with Yakuza, at least in my opinion. And I just want Dark to take his time, have fun with it, and I even specifically put in there, I want Dark to pay attention to the cutscenes, because there are some cutscenes that are very crucial. Luckily, he's just starting out, so I'm not too worried about him missing. Oh, he's got to see this part, and it's like, you know, almost nothing. But moving forward, definitely at the start of Chapter 3, I am going to see Dark's reaction when he sees Chapter 3, because it is something. But anyway, so
yeah, it's just like I wanted to see your reaction when you first encountered the flood and you had yourself muted for the whole
I am the worst. I am the absolute worst. Because for those that don't know, I kind of mute my mic from time to time because I have like a couple of fans going. I actually have 3 fans going on right now, and it is really hot in my room. And I do know, I think also with some of my audio effects to my microphone picks up too much of my room, and I want to minimize that. And in the process, by nature, even if I have my fans off, it kind of sounds like there's a fan in my room. It's just the way it is. And I kind of mute that because I kind of feel like it's a little distracting. So I mute myself to make sure that doesn't pop up. And it only occurs when I talk. But anyway, so that's why I muted my mic, and I forgot to unmute. And that's when I saw the flood. I also, basically, in that process, I did end up realizing I fucked up. Big time.
Yeah.
So I apologize. That's on me. But as I was trying to point out during that moment, I did also try to point out that I don't think I really had too much of a reaction. But again, this is also like a really because like this game, Halo was released
2001.
2001, so we're looking at like a 20-year-old game.
Years. It's a 20-year-old game, yeah.
So we're looking
Still
at
holds up.
So we're looking at a 20-year-old game, and I'm sure when people like first played this game, that was like a huge thing, and maybe it might be like a little bit of like a flat reaction. So I kind of feel bad that I almost gave no reaction, but also at the same time, I had like my own moments in gaming to where I saw stuff that I thought was really something, and then I play it again, and it's like it doesn't have the same feel as it did the first time. So, yeah, I kind of feel bad about that moment because I'm sure that meant a lot to some people, and I just basically just kind of like no sold it. Like I said, I think I gave more reaction of like I guess they're mutants is what they were. Because you get the flood, and then you get these other targets, and they seem to be like mutated individuals because they got like arms sticking out and stuff, and
they're flood combat forms.
Because no, go ahead if you had something else.
I'm just saying what they are. They're
okay.
They're so basically model wise they're flood controlled, like the flood take over bodies. What they can't basically gameplay. I don't know lore wise if the other like jackals and grunts are big enough for the flood to make adequate combat forms out of, but at least in the gameplay wise, human bodies and elite bodies are what the combat forms are. Basically, the flood just crawl into them and just infect and just hijack the corpses.
Oh, so those are corpses, and the flood is okay. I see what's
a parasite.
Okay,
yeah,
but I saw the flood, and I think I gave more of a reaction to the mutant corpses. I'm pretty sure I gave more of a reaction to them, but even then, it was still not like I didn't take it anything significant. But again, it's like everyone has like different reactions to different stuff, and so I hope everyone that is a fan of Halo that I did screw up for that moment. I didn't, because I was kind of enjoying the cutscene of just seeing what what was taking place. So, and of course, whenever that happens, and then you go back to gameplay, I just happened to forget to mute. So I hope to God, I'm sorry, I had my mic muted, but
it's all good.
Anyway,
can I quickly, while we're on the topic, quickly,
sure.
I didn't mention it. Something I wanted to bring up while we were talking about Halo, but why that one mission, why I love like the flood reveal so much is because of, I guess it's more the build up, because at the end of the last mission, Cortana's just like, she doesn't tell you what it is. It's just like, it's bad, go.
Right.
And there is so much in that mission up to when the flood is released, or you're made aware of the flood. There are so many things in the environment. That Pelican you pass when you first get out of Echo 419's Pelican. By the way, Fohammer, freaking great character. I love Fohammer so much. that pelican. Eventually, it will after like a little bit, like 30 seconds, it plays a message which is like Marines saying like Captain Key's been captured by some sort of covenant. We need evac, something, something, something. Coordinates are blank, blank, blank. And so that's one of the first. I'm going to go through like a lot of the elements. You can actually, if you're paying attention and know what you're doing, you can see flood combat forms in that opening area on the cliffs above the map. And if you're looking at your radar, you'll see pings of like gold things, because I'm guessing it's because of the Marine ID transponders are still on the flood corpses, so it's pinging as friendly units, but you don't see anyone. You just see pings of friendly units, but there's no one there unless you know where to look in the map. And you can see them quickly dart back into the woods. And one thing I never fully, until I watched you play through it, I never realized there are no elites in that mission. It's all jackals and grunts. I never, unless I'm misremembering, I'm pretty sure there are no elites there, which is a really strange thing. It's like the only mission where there is no elites with the supporting troops, because they're the officers.
Right.
And it's just like the build up and stuff. That was one of the things. Also, there's a lot of good environmental storytelling too. Like lead up, there's that, you saw the one brutalized jackal corpse on the original graphics. That hallway is actually just completely smeared in blue jackal blood. It's way worse looking in original than it is in normal. But there's just so many little things. Like if you notice, the enemy was a lot of the time not facing towards where you were. Like they had their back turned to you. And I think it's like the only mission in the game where Covenant defenses are not pointed towards where you're coming from. Most of them are pointed as if they're trying to keep something in and not keep you out. Which just all the tiny little details in that.
Yeah, small subtleties, yeah.
Cool. And unfortunately, that one Marine you killed immediately, he's supposed to have a voice line that triggers immediately when you open the door. That says, back off, you're not going to turn me into one of those things. Like all these little tiny things you hear that don't make... It's like, what the hell is he talking about? But then once you learn about the flood, you know he's talking about like he saw his teammates get infected and consumed by the flood. So it's all these tiny little details that just build up to this big, like, holy shit, like this new enemy. It's just one of my favorite build-ups to revealing a new enemy in a game ever. I just love it so much. And there's a lot more other subtle details that I'll just won't even go into, but it's just when you look at all of it, it's so like it's just a first person shooter, but there's just so much in there that like foreshadows something's not right.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, sadly, I don't think I got that cutscene, I don't think.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I don't know what happened.
Weird. Yeah, something... Maybe you got a little too... When you're running through the hallways, you got a little too close and you triggered the dialogue before you got close enough to hear it? I don't know, but... Yeah, he's supposed to... That's like... I think that's the first voice line he yells is, stay back, I'm not turning into one of those things. And then he just incoherently starts babbling about stuff that doesn't make any sense until you learn about the flood.
But yeah, Dark's gonna be going through more Yakuza. I'm gonna be going through more Halo, hopefully tomorrow. And yeah, should be a lot of fun in the coming days and weeks for sure until our next podcast.
Mm-hmm.
These next couple of podcasts are just gonna be. I'm just gonna love them. It's just sadly I'm gonna be finishing Halo long before Dark finishes Yakuza. Sadly, but
I will. It's gonna take me forever to finish Yakuza.
yeah, it's
gonna be one of those games that I'll play every once in a while. I'll do like. It'll probably end up not being one of those games that play start to finish. It'll be like, I'll play a couple times, I'll play something else, then I'll come back to Yakuza, do a good chunk of it, and then.
Yeah, because I think there was actually a day to where you actually did stream, and I think you were streaming like Terraria and like Slay the Spire.
I did do a Terraria day. I did, yes.
And then that was just definitely a moment. I don't think I said too much that day because I was mainly going through World War Z and having a blast. I actually did prestige World War Z. What is it? Hellraiser. I actually did.
Hellraiser.
I actually did prestige that. So
you said you were working on it. You didn't. You said you were working on it.
Yeah, I was working on it, and then like I think yesterday or this morning, I think I prestiged it. So it's like very recent. So now I need to work back up to get to level 30 with it again. Ugh. But anyway, I'm having a lot of fun there. But I did wanted to. I know I didn't say it then, but I want to say it now. If there is any day to where it's like it's just too much Yakuza, by all means, bro, just play the games that you feel is worth your channel. You know what I mean? So yeah, by all means, because there is definitely gonna be games that's gonna pop up to where, because like a good example, like for me, like I was going through Witcher 3, and then I did like a hard stop. I'm playing Red Dead Redemption 2. There's no other way about it. I'm playing Red Dead 2. So I just went. Yeah. So I had to put everything on pause, did Red Dead, loved it, and then went right back to where I was. So if there's any game like that or what have you, by all means, do you. But regardless, I am definitely going to be interested in just hearing on what's going on in Darkstream. It's going to be very interesting. So I guess we're actually over the hour, so we'll probably go into our break right now, go into some clips. So it's going to be pretty fun.
I've put all my clips in the Discord because I sent those two that I have.
Yeah, I already actually logged them in, so now I just need to grab these new ones. Hopefully don't screw up like last time.
Should all be fine, ideally.
So I remember last time I like somehow skipped over one, and that was on me. So
don't start for another 7 seconds. I've got an ad.
Yeah, I'm just getting dark here. Oh yeah, I hate it when you refresh and you get the freaking ads. Yeah.
Yeah, I unpaused it and got an ad, and I'm like,
Yeah, if anyone gets like an ad or something, because if you want to like, if also for those that are watching, if you want to refresh now, by all means.
Also, can someone explain to me why the hell I can't watch bit ads for bits anymore? It's been a year since I've watched an ad for a bit. Like literally over a year. I've had it popped up.
Don't know.
I've had it popped up 3 times. Collectively. It's just like, no, you can't get free bits, apparently.
I wanna say, but I could be wrong. I wanna say, at least with the pandemic right now, I wanna say that maybe some of that could be the fact they wanna, because everyone's gonna be at home, there might be more people watching than usual. I want to say that might play a role, but I don't know. But that shouldn't explain like if it was like say late 2019. Like if you were still getting in late 2019, that shouldn't
I think it was either late 20. It was sometime it was either mid 2018 or
Ooh, yeah.
early
So
2019 was the last time I had the ability to watch an ad for bits.
yeah, that is definitely some time. So I don't know. Because if you were to say it was more recent, that would be my guess. But even still, that may be questionable. But yeah, I don't know what that is. All right, I already have mine loaded up here, so I guess I'll go ahead and play mine first.
Okay.
Need to see if I got my audio here. I think we're good. It's mostly just me and Ron Arterman. So, hope you like
Lovely.
more Silent Sentry, because here we go. Also, Fat Cop! Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Ron Ottoman live at the scene where this overweight cop has given this man mouth-to-mouth for the last 20 minutes straight until he is finally gasping for air once again. Confirmed dead on the scene by this officer, lips to lips, he stayed there and was his life source until he came back to consciousness just in time for the EMS to arrive and destroy a bunch of public property in their wake. Now that the EMS is here, it looks like they're going to take over, and the obese cop, a hero, once again.
I just thought that was hilarious.
The EMS show up and destroy
Destroy half this. I just thought that was funny. It just sounds all natural, and then all this destruction just pathing his way.
I just love how he just rolls with it. He's just reporting it as
yeah.
not a beat missed. Just rolled right into, and they're destroying public property. What a hero!
Although
Francis J. Francis.
Although technically, shouldn't he not know in character because his back is turned? If you think about it, unless he's really good on sound, because Ron Arterman never looks back. So technically, you could maybe say he broke character a little bit, but that's only if you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Still, it's
just say
funny.
But he was recording.
Exactly.
Like taking a selfie.
Alright. Scene number 2. I believe I actually even saw this live, but I kind of have another perspective, but I mean, let's face it, this is the funnier one. So, 1, 2, 3.
Maybe that's what they were calling was a train. This could be a death trap waiting to happen, as there's likely a train en route right this second. The van's not handling very well off-road. The police seem to have stopped. There's a crash. The cops have crashed. That or the individuals have now jumped off. Oh, Jesus Christ! No! Ladies and gentlemen, Ron Arterman live at the scene where every officer on the force is now dead except for Fat Cop. Fat Cop's still up. I called it on the train. Pound sign train massacre. Ladies and gentlemen, pound sign train massacre. Let me get this on the gram.
Pound sign train massacre. By the way, the other perspective is Fat Cop. I actually do have his perspective, but sadly you don't really see anything. But yeah, I do have his angle as well.
Fun fact, if you've ever seen someone pick up a newspaper in Los Santos, it'll say Fat Cop still missing. That was because Coyle's, he stopped playing Francis, and so they haven't changed that, so I think it still says Fat Cop still missing. It was funny because when Kiwo she'd done RP with Coyle on like a DayZ server, and
Right.
She was a cop, and she brought over her cop character from that roleplay,
Right?
he actually logged into Francis and drove up right beside her and said, and in his Francis voice, I can't remember what he said. He just said something in his Francis voice and drove off. And it just like, Francis?
Oh, that is glorious.
Literally just
that is glorious.
logged on to the character just to fuck with her.
Nice. Nice. Oh, man, that is great. Oh, that is so funny. Alright. Here's another one. More Ron Otterman. 1, 2, 3.
Individuals are going to be getting away anytime soon. Fat cop, somehow outside, not sure what happened. I guess he went to get some lunch. He's going for the trunk. Oh! Fat cop just ate that vehicle. Jesus Christ. Sarah International, you know what? Just get out of my life. Sir, move. This is an active crime scene. The hell away. No one cares about your small penis. Move.
My thing buffered, so I was very behind.
Oh, that's all good. Yeah,
But,
if anyone needs to refresh, just let me know.
He ate the whole car.
He ate the whole fucking car!
Who cares how you're spelling mean? Yeah, it just cuts out at the right point.
It's great. It's great. Alright. Now, to me and myself, to be fair, I hate this guy. He still has not returned my call if we're still on speaking terms, but anyway, here's one from me. I think this was the first time I did this, but anyway, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
How do you spell your name? J E R.
He's talking about me, dumbass!
No, how was I supposed to know? I mean, I'm streaming, so I'm reading the chat. You know, you can be mean sometimes, Liv. I don't like it. I'm just telling you, I don't like it. I'm gonna write a complaint.
You better not report me on Twitch.
Oh, you bet your ass I'm gonna report you on Twitch. YouTube as well. You'll lose your entire account. Everyone will hate you! And I will take over your Discord. How do you spell your name?
Your Jerry voice.
Freaking Jerry.
Freaking Jerry. Freaking Jerry. If you ever do RP, please, at some point have a Jerry character.
Well, it all depends with Jerry. I still need to check in with him. He still hasn't returned my call if we're still on speaking terms. I mean, he could just let me know, so that way I know not to talk to him anymore. But, I mean, I guess I'll find out in a couple days. Anyway, here's more of, Jerry.
I am a genius. I have an idea. That is not me! That is not me! That is someone fake! He is fake! I have an idea. I have an idea. Hold on! I got it. I'll do it like this. Yeah, so Liv! How
would probably be the closest to what I'm talking about.
Yeah!
But
closest to what you're talking about!
That would be the 40s, and I would kind of want more 30s, 20s.
Yeah, you never want those 20-inch rims. They look badass.
That's the game that I want.
You want those 20-inch rims on those
Mafia 1.
on those games. Yeah. Totally.
You and your cherry bits.
I had fun. Alright, so this should be Dark's first clip. So I'll take a look at that right here. 1, 2, 3.
You guys totally can't see what I'm about to do, but it's gonna be awesome. Okay. I can't believe that worked. You guys totally can't see what I'm about to do, but it's gonna be awesome.
Did he just seriously do what I think he just did?
Yep.
He tried to do a tactical roll.
He did. And he actually hit the guy.
Wow.
Yeah. That was Ryan from Achievement Honor on his streaming that Pap like Alexa, whatever the name was.
Yeah,
Alex.
I think it's Alex. Whole time, I'm like, did he just seriously do what I think he just did? Alright. Here's video number 2 from Dark. Looks like Bannerlord.
Yeah. Bannerlord.
1, 2, 3.
Alright, I'm gonna do a rousing speech. We may not have many men. Oh! That was a spear in the back of my head, guys. Alright, I'm gonna do a rousing speech.
It's so good. I'm so sad everything's buffing so much, but we may not have many men. Javelin to the back of the head.
Wow. Oh, the timing on that is ridiculous.
Yeah. Fucking great. Best speech ever. Best. That was by far the best speech ever given.
100%. 100%.
I played that on loop for just like, we might not have many men.
Glorious.
Warning, warriors on the battlefield may be closer than they appear.
Oh, man. Alright, here we go. Another one from Dark. By the way, if anyone has any clips, just go ahead and post them in chat. We'll play them afterwards. Just a heads up. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
And we walked out saying, we were like, this is going to be the game of the year next year. We couldn't believe how smooth and how perfect it was just on this early playable. So I guess my first question for Titanfall is, how's the gameplay so smooth versus what we're actually seeing in the YouTube videos and stuff like that of gameplay in the sense that the kids are at home are watching the gameplay and they're saying,
why did I keep talking?
Like, this looks really smooth. This looks
just
really
stop
easy.
Talking, Bruce.
How are you guys matching that same quality of game?
Why did I keep talking?
Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare.
By the way.
Oh man, that is great.
The most important question ever asked in video game journalism. Yeah, neither did the person. Neither did the person he was asking the question to understand.
No.
There's just so much shit he said.
I forget who I was watching, but I I know someone that used to like he was like a spokes guy for like a commentator and stuff for like esports. So he did a lot of those interviews, and he showed off like one of his first interviews exactly like that. They're like at an expo or something, and he's supposed to ask a question, and apparently he got a lot of feedback of like, dude, why are you so fidgety? You're swaying from side to side. You're so distracting. And yeah, seeing some of those is actually kind of funny. Just seeing how they were. I don't know if that was his first. I assume not. I could only assume he did a couple. So
no, it was his career at that point.
But yeah, that's hilarious to see interviews. Is whether you're speaking for someone or you're having to interview someone, it's sometimes just hilarious to see how things turn out. And I'm assuming that was live, or was it?
Well, it was during a where you can pay money, and it's like a chat jukebox where it's like you pay money, and then depending on how much you pay, you can X amount. Like it's a certain amount of money is a certain amount of seconds for a video, and someone did that with his old interviews. So that was him.
Right.
Like someone put that requested that video. That's him reacting. It's like, oh god, why didn't I just stop talking?
Oh man. All right, we got another one here. 1, 2, 3.
What? You are fucking kidding me! Oh, no. Who has done this? Who has
Here's
fucking
more.
done this?
Thanks for the content while we're stuck at
You
home.
better
Is
pick
no
me up,
hard.
you piece of shit! You are so fucking dumb.
Definitely worth it. Definitely worth it. Did you find him too?
That is 2-5.
What?
Wait, what?
You are fucking kidding me!
Just all of a sudden,
Who has done this?
he's just driving along, and then all of a sudden, just bam, just spawns at the police station.
Yeah. Yeah, you got detained. So when you detain someone, you go jail and you type in their number.
Huh.
The player number.
Right.
And they typed in the wrong one. They typed in the wrong one.
That's definitely a discussion there. Wow. All right. Got another one here. Right. Pull up the screen. Pretty sure my audio's good. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, we'll have them in here. I don't want to go too far in case it despawns. Yo, Kramer, thanks for the 6 months, dude. Appreciate it, man. All right, let me think how we're going to do this. We're going to convince somebody to come down here and then somehow tell them to take someone down that way.
405, I just heard an explosion? Oh my god, something's happening. Something's happening. Oh god, I'm hearing like sci-fi noises. I'm fucking scared, I don't know what to do. Ray gun. I'm in Talia's office across the street from fucking Pillbox Medical. It literally sounds like a ray gun.
7476.
Hey, it's Fat Cop!
I don't want to go too far in case it despawns.
Just freaking freaking out. Just like that could have been more perfect. Just like you just fired it. It's like, I just heard an explosion. I wonder.
Wow. Great.
Well, it's funny because most of the people who play GTRP aren't familiar with all the stuff that's in online because they just play the RP stuff.
Right.
Also, why would even if you knew that existed, why would anyone? No one would have that except Coil, because he runs the server.
Right.
It's just so funny that there just happened to be a cop there.
Yeah. Because at first I thought he was just trying to point out like a plan that he has, and then all of a sudden I just start hearing the radio. We're getting shot at. What the hell's going on over here? Oh, it's so great.
Yeah.
All right, got another one here. 1, 2, 3.
To confirm, we can go inside if you
Okay.
want. It's just supposed to be a couples therapy session, as far as I understand. So.
Ouch! Fucking what? Look. Fucking what? You signed me up for what? We should go inside. Kiki, we should go inside. William, do you see the issues are happening here? Do you see what's happening? Dude, we need to go inside, Kiki. Let's go inside. We need to go. We need to go inside. Oh, never mind. Actually, fucking talking to me about what sort of a fucking resolution we can use. Never mind that. Hey, you know what? I've got a better idea. How about this? How about instead of fucking talking about it, why don't you just go ahead and make all the fucking decisions? And then Kiki, oh, what can she do? I know she can fuck herself. How about that? Why don't we just do that instead, Casterman? You son of a bitch. You smug motherfucker. What's wrong with you? How the fuck did you think you can do this without ever talking to me about it first? You idiot. Were you born yesterday? You fucking moron. Were you born out of your mother's asshole? The hell's wrong with you, you stupid fucking idiot? I can't believe this. I can't believe.
To confirm, we can go inside if you
Okay.
want. It's just supposed to be a
Oh,
couples therapy
Kiki's so
session,
funny.
as far as I understand. So.
Milton's great.
He's great. I thought I heard that he actually did have like a little bit of a computer issue, so he's been kind of off of GTA RP, but I think he fixed it and slowly getting back into it, so.
Wow, well, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
I need to watch more Milton.
I actually do have some Milton clips in future podcasts, so I'm looking
Nice.
forward to showing them.
Next one also features a Milton. A Milton features Kiki.
Nice.
A singular Milton.
Yeah, there's only one Milton T. Pike, so. Well, Milton T. Pike 1. Make that be known. Alright, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Your face looks just as ugly as ever.
Oh,
Nothing's changed.
That's nice, Brenda. You are the same sip of soggy cereal that you've always been. It's just like you think that it's gonna be
Yeah, that's
something
what you
nice.
think. That's
you
what
get a
you
little
think.
taste, and
Look
all
at
you think
this.
is, oh man, what a
Ooh, look at me. I'm Kiki Channel. Oh my God, look at me dancing.
Look at me. Liz, Brenda.
I'm just sexy.
I get paid $6.99 to be a receptionist at the
I'm not a receptionist anymore. I'm a dispatch.
My boyfriend doesn't like me.
Look at me. I can dance. I went on a date. I had so many boyfriends. Oh, I'm Kiki. I'm so ugly.
I need to call an exterminator to knock the cobwebs out of my vagine because
You know
no
what?
one's
Maybe
been
that's
there in
stupid. It
months.
doesn't matter because Kiki is so stupid.
What's that? Clitoris? Is that a kind of trail
I
mix?
have to
don't
pay
know
people
what
to go on
that
a date
is.
with me.
No, I'm willing to stimulate.
What are you doing? Why are you lifting your leg up? I don't lift my legs up like that. I don't lift my legs up like
Yes,
that.
you do.
Oh my god. That, beautiful. Bravo.
Yeah. Ashlyn and Milton have great moments together when Brenda and Kiki meet up. I just love the freaking Tessa. Kita's character just standing there watching.
I would love the. I couldn't help but notice that there was a cop in the background. I would love the idea that he pulls up, he sees all of this. Nope. Gets back in his car and takes off. That would be the icing on the cake right there. That would be the icing on the cake, but that was great. Oh, I love that.
I think that was during like Kiki's doing community service.
Mhm.
She's washing police cars, I think. But I'm remembering from the I think she ends up actually, it doesn't take long for her to start vandalizing them, assaults a police officer, and makes off with a PD motorcycle.
Only Kiki knows how. Wow. Alright, moving on to our next topic. This was actually the idea that I kind of originally had for the other podcasts that I hosted last, basically I just set up a perfect, at least for me anyway, a perfect kind of type of segue for the next topic, which is going to, it's a follow-in to Artist of the Week. So sadly, I can't give an answer until I say my Artist of the Week. But, so I guess for me at least, basically I thought about just talking about like our favorite, just kind of go into like favorite music in video games, because music has always impacted me, so I just wanted to just kind of like put some light into that particular topic of just music and video games. And so, kind of like I said, I can't really say my answer of like what's my favorite without actually talking about my Artist of the Week. So I guess for me at least, I could maybe talk a little bit about like the history of like what was the first game that I ran into that I really took notice, and just like how it just kind of like just developed from there, so on and so forth. But basically, like my first game that I played to where I was like really blown away by just hearing the music easily has to be, I'm pretty sure it's Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3, just simply because there were so many songs that I liked. Also, one of the reasons why I kind of found Motorhead, which is my favorite band of all time, and so at first it was like copyrighted music that kind of like really and someone I may have brought this up before, but I actually saw a streamer and they were mentioning how Tony Hawk, like the reason why that was such a great game is because the other half was kind of the soundtrack. Without the soundtrack, you're kind of not getting the full extent of the game. So basically, I just kind of fell in love with that. But in terms of like actual music in a game, like games that was music made in house, I think the very first game that I really took a shine to was Payday 2. Payday 2 just had like a really great soundtrack. Also, Simon, he was one of my favorite Artists of the Week from previous, so I mentioned about him before. Payday 2 just made great music. It had a great combination of like just rock, techno, and different other genres kind of blended together. Sometimes, at least for heists in particular, they wanted to kind of mimic a certain sound of like of a movie. Two of which I picked for Artist of the Week, so just go back and listen to those. It was basically the Reservoir Dogs heist, and also Break the Rules, because those were two of my favorite movies of all time, Scarface and Reservoir Dogs. And then, of course, moving on from that, I thought there was something about Hotline Miami, the video game, to where I just really was digging that 80s vibe to it. I mean, you had to have a good soundtrack for that game, because it just, again, it kind of falls back in line to like what I was saying about Tony Hawk. The soundtrack is the other half of the game. Without that, you're not getting this beautiful combination of both gameplay and also sound as well. So yeah, I thought Hotline Miami was definitely like, I kind of saw that resemblance a little bit, to where it's like it had like great music in the game, but also have great gameplay on top of that. And I thought the graphics kind of fit the narrative of everything by having like a 16-bit kind of type of vibe to it. And of course, it just, Hotline Miami, I really enjoyed that game. I don't know if I ever completed it on stream, but I've completed it off stream, and I kind of had a little bit of an addiction to it, because I just really loved the tone that they were kind of setting, having like an 80s vibe to it. And I was really enjoying that, and I just never kind of seen that with any other game. And I was also just kind of curious if Dark ever kind of felt anything similar with the game that he played, to where he heard great music but also have a really good game behind it as well. So again, I can't say my answer without going into Artist of the Week, but Dark, do you have like a particular game that really kind of spoke to you in terms of like the music side of it?
It's a good question, because I do like the soundtracks of a lot of games, but I never really know what stuck with me unless I hear it, and then I immediately recognize it. That's how I know, like, oh, like that track actually stuck with me. Off the top, I mean, usually it's like a couple songs I'll be like from video games that'll stick with me. Like, obviously, like the Skyrim theme song. That's one that's pretty hype and really easy to remember. The Halo theme song. The Halo theme is one that I've always loved, and it's up there with one of, if not my personal favorite, video game theme that I can think of. As for soundtracks as a whole, two games that come to mind that I know for sure love the soundtracks, and they super fitting with the game. Stardew Valley, just all the music in Stardew Valley is just amazing and perfect. And Doki Doki Literature Club, I absolutely loved the soundtrack for that as well. Those are the only two games I can think of off the top of my head that I loved the entire soundtrack.
Right.
That I was like, I listened to that soundtrack and I was like, damn, this is amazing. Weeb, shut up.
Yeah, and also, at least with me anyway, a couple other games I just now thought of that also I thought was really good. I did recently play Doom. Doom had a couple of good songs. I'm still looking through the songs that really kind of stuck with me. Sadly, I still need to like refresh my memory, so I'm still kind of like going through seeing which ones I actually liked and what have you. Apparently, at least with those that have played Doom, apparently really suggest, and it's probably going to grow on me. Yes, BFG Division, absolutely. So yeah, I think by popular demand, I think I have to bring that up. But it's definitely a good song for sure. But also, not only Doom, but also I thought it's one of the intros I can never skip. I can never skip that intro. Every time I hear it, I get pumped for the actual game itself, and that is Yakuza 0. It has one of the best intros ever, at least in my opinion.
It does have a pretty hype intro.
It's the visuals and just the sound. It demands attention, and for me, it's really good. And it's exactly right up my alley. And also, kind of going back to, again, another Artist of the Week that I went with previous, CFOs, who do WWE wrestling themes. I hear Shinsuke Nakamura's theme song in the actual, well, specifically, I hear Nakamura's theme song from when he was in New Japan in the opening to Yakuza 0. Don't forget yeah, don't forget Reigns. Yeah, exactly. But yeah. Those are, again, a couple more tracks or games I could think of that have really good songs to them. I think that's it that I could think of in terms of games I could think of offhand. I almost forgot about Doom, and I just now remembered Yakuza as well. But sadly, I think with Yakuza, you can technically also add in the karaoke, I suppose. And because I just don't do them as often, I kind of forget that. Which is why I think in my current playthrough, I need to find some karaoke bars and do some of the cabaret, or not cabaret, but the karaoke. So, but yeah, the music in Zero, Doom, Payday 2, Hotline Miami, and Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the ones that pop out the most to me, especially in recent memory. And then I think that's it that I could think of in terms of games that I could think of. Unless there's something that you may have just now remembered.
Killing Floor 2. Good one. Good, very...
Yeah, a lot of metal. Yeah, for sure.
There is actually vocals. You can turn on vocals. I immediately turn them back off because I'm like, okay, that just turned me off. Music. I just want to listen to the vocals. I mean, just the instrumental.
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan of instrumentals, and it kind of shows a little bit in. Well, again, go back to CFOs and Simon because almost all those songs were just complete instrumentals. So I completely feel you there. When it comes to Killing Floor, for sure, I would definitely say the instrumentals are probably way better than with vocals.
Did you ever play Far Cry 3?
I don't think I've ever played Far Cry 3.
Yes.
No, I played Far Cry 5, but I haven't played Far Cry 3 yet.
I was gonna say, the one popped into my head. I'm like, oh, the one weed mission where you're burning weed, and it's got that. I don't even know what to call it. Reggae? I don't know. Maybe not reggae. It's probably not reggae. It's some weed. It's some weird saw. I don't know what to even describe it as, but it was just so appropriate for having a flamethrower and torching wheat fields.
Nice. For a second there, I thought you said weeb, and then I was like, wait a second, he's saying
torching
weeb
fields.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm torching weeb fields.
I would have to think, without playing it, I would have to think it's gotta be reggae, because Bob Marley and reggae and weed just kind of go together. So, without playing it, I have to say it's gotta be reggae. It's gotta be reggae.
I don't. I have no idea.
Because you can.
If I can find it. If I type in Far Cry 3 weed burning. Far Cry 3 weed. Weed song. There we go. What's it called? Wait, what does Skrillex do? It's featuring Skrillex.
I'm not too familiar with Skrillex. I'm pretty sure that is a band though.
Genre. Oh, reggae step. It's in the genre of reggae step. So
it's reggae and dubstep.
Okay, so it's half right. I wanted to say dubstep. I wanted to say reggae. I wanted to say dubstep and dubstep.
Like I said, I forget when I was mentioning this, but a lot of genres are just now blending together, and so I'm not surprised there's reggae and dubstep. Which would explain why you wouldn't call it reggae, and probably why you would maybe think more dubstep, which would make sense.
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't sure if it was. I was like, dubstep. I wasn't sure if it was dubstep, and I was like,
yeah,
I wasn't sure if it's reggae. It's apparently both.
But having played GTA a lot, they always blend weed and reggae together. It just goes hand in hand. So, makes sense. But yeah, those are the only things I could think of in terms of music. So, I guess if we don't have anything to add, move into Artist of the Week, or...
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Alright, and then of course, like I said, in terms of every song that I've ever heard, in terms of soundtrack, I gotta go with Persona 5. Persona 5, in my opinion, has easily the best soundtrack I ever heard in a video game, period. In terms of overall, like, there has been songs that are instrumental, and songs that are with vocals. I am saying this right now, I am going to cheat with this particular, I guess you could say, artist, because technically I can go with the vocals and then do it again later with the composer. But I believe her name is Lyn Inaizumi? I think that's it. Anyway, Lyn, she does great work on vocals. Anytime you hear a song from Persona 5, she knocks it out of the park. It doesn't help that one of the main combat themes is Last Surprise. So, I mean, that just sticks out like a sore thumb to me. But I also really enjoy Beneath the Mask as well, because I think a friend even told me, because like I was like kind of like showing off some of the songs, and he heard that song and he was like, man, I really want to play that song for a rainy day. And I just started thinking, geez, if you played the game, you know for a fact that that song plays only during rainy days. So it's kind of fitting that without playing the game, he already kind of knew what the song was. And of course, the other songs I went with, oh, I actually forgot to delete that one. I'm looking at my first draft, actually, of this, so, and then, I also really enjoyed, by the way, there are many songs that I really do enjoy, both instrumental and with the vocals. I highly recommend that you look up any Persona 5 music, because you will not be disappointed. But with the vocals, the ones I went with was Rivers in a Desert. I wonder if I could find that particular live... There was a live performance of Rivers in a Desert at a concert. I've actually only seen it in a wrestling match first. AEW, they did this very unique thing to where apparently if you go to the show, at your seat you would have like a wristband with a light on it, and the music would actually play to the song with those wristbands in sync with one another. So you get like this laser, you almost get like this light show. There's a great scene. I want to see if I can find it. Rivers in a Desert. I want to see if I can find that concert real fast to kind of show you what I'm talking about. That's gotta be it. It's gotta be it. So apparently, yeah, this is a live performance. And they actually bring on... I'm actually showing the video on the stream right now, and it's basically... You gotta remember, this is a video game, and it got a concert out of it. So that alone...
That is impressive.
So that alone just kind of tells you what this... How far this went. Like, the music was so good. By the way, I totally want to play the music, but I'm going to do it with the audio off, because it's all about the visuals right here. There's this great wide shot that they end up using, and you see all these lights going off, and it's in sync with one another. So yeah, that's kind of like what I'm talking about right there. You just see these beautiful wide shots, and the lights are all just in sync with one another. Like, that just shows like how popular the music is in a freaking video game. And I could already tell some of the characters from the game is there. I mean, it really is. The music, it speaks for itself. And I just really was just so into the music in Persona 5. There was definitely a lot of funk. There was definitely like some rock and other genres as well. That was just so good. And I think the music, the composer, everything just flowed perfectly, and it's just so good in my opinion. But I mean, that just kind of like, I only heard of like one other group that may have had a almost like this level of kind of popularity, and that's thinking of the anime, which I'm probably going to use that for Artist of the Week. There's an anime called Cowboy Bebop, and the band I think was called Seatbelts. They do really great music, and I kind of felt like there was like a similarity. No surprise that Persona 5 is also a manga and an anime. It's just they did a video game that just went so well, and I was just blown away. I believe I actually even played this this particular song on the live version on my stream before, because it was just so good. I forget when and where I was searching, but the music just speaks for itself. And like I said, I totally want to play the freaking music, but I can't. And I'm not doing it and I'm not playing the music because I don't want to. I'm gonna get copyright banned. There's no copyright on this music because it's so heavily featured in a game. So like every time you play the game, you're gonna get copyrighted. Yeah, so copyright issues is not a issue. It's just we'll have to sit here and wait for me while I just listen to the music. So I'll rather just go ahead and just get my words out there. And but yeah, I thought this live performance was so good. I just love everything about it. But yeah, that's my Artist of the Week. Lyn Inaizumi, I think is the name. I could be botching that, and I apologize if I am, but Persona 5 music is really good. Highly recommend it. And yeah, it's just really good. The only thing that I'm not gonna lie, as a fan, my ultimate dream is if you could have like Persona 5 music in Yakuza. That would be the greatest game ever. Yakuza gameplay with Persona 5 music, oh, that would be so good. That would be my ultimate dream, but I'm fine keeping them separate because it's just good music. And I think that's all I kind of really have to say. Sorry I kind of fanboyed out there a little bit, but I just really enjoy the music. So, Dark, I don't know if you ever heard any songs of Persona 5. For the record, I actually never played Persona 5. Well, I tried to, but my PlayStation 3 just kept hard crashing, and apparently that was a common issue. But I've seen some streams, and I fell in love with it just from watching the streams. The game just spoke for itself, and so that's why it's on one of my games that I really want to play. But so we'll only see what happens. So, any thoughts?
So, say right off the bat, the only experience I have with Persona 5 is 6 hours Ella streamed of it, like over the course of like 2 streams, and I will say I immediately recognized Last Surprise and Beneath the Mask. I immediately recognized the music and visualized the game. And I was like, wow, I guess the music stuck with me more than I thought it did.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely those two songs. I remember both of them. I was like, man, yeah, these were both good.
Yeah, and I
don't think it had the vocals of Beneath the Mask in the game. It was just the instrumental, was it not?
If I remember correctly, I think they did have both. It's just, I think it was situational. I think you had to be at the school or something to get one version, and I think if you were on the streets, I think you got another version. And I think that's how it went. Don't quote me, but I do know it is in the game. Because I remember seeing the streams, and I heard both. I just forget what situation took place in order to trigger the instrumental and the vocals. But yeah, it's all in the game, and it's just so good, in my opinion.
Yeah, yes, definitely. It's good. I give Persona that, especially from what you, because I'd probably remember, like, if I don't think any of the other two songs played during that playthrough, or at least they didn't stick in my mind, but definitely Last Surprise. Then the instrumentals of Beneath the Mask both stuck in my head, apparently.
The other two songs I went with, Rivers in a Desert, that only triggered for a particular boss, I believe. So you had to see like that particular boss level, I think. And I forget where in that level it triggers, but yeah, that one, Rivers in a Desert, was a particular boss. I believe it's the second boss you go up against. I think. I could be wrong. But from my recollection, it was like the second or third boss. And that's the only time where that song plays. I think the other song I went with was Life Will Change. I forget when that triggers. What part of the game that plays. And then, if I had to pick a fifth, would have been the opener to Persona 5. I actually just deleted that. And that one, I'm probably going to put that up for the instrumental, maybe. But it's Wake Up, Get Out There is the opener. If I would have picked a fifth, that was on my list, and then just like a couple of days before, I was like, I think this one's way more hype than this one, so it just
I think I
beat
do
it slightly.
remember that one. Now that you say that, I think I remember, at least vaguely.
But yeah, if you ever seen the opener of Persona 5, that's Get Up, Get Out There. That one's also really good, but sadly, I want to say that Life Will Change, it was just slightly better, so it was neck and neck. That's why if I could pick 5, I would go with those 5, but go with the 4. Go with the 4, it's fine. But yeah. And like I said, I don't know when Life Will Change triggers in the game, but it's somewhere in there. I just don't know when. But yeah. So it's kind of funny how most of the songs I picked are almost all frequent, except for the last two. However, if I got the actual opener, then that would almost be most of the songs would just be like the most common thing you would come across.
Wouldn't necessarily be bad.
No, it wouldn't. And then, Dirk, your artist of the week is...
Oh, yep, yes, totally. Oh yeah, Red Hot Chili Peppers. That was it. I had to look again. I was like, wait, what did I pick? I need to make sure.
It's all good.
Yeah, they're a rock band from the 80s. Well, they still do music today, which is surprising.
Yeah, I think they're still around.
Started in 83? 83. They started. I totally didn't just look that up. But yeah, they're Would you call it? Oh my god, what's considered classic rock?
I would think classic
I know
rock.
Elvis would be considered classic, but is the 80s considered classic? That's like 30 years ago.
It's kind of weird that you would say, does that make it classic? Because I thought I heard, me and a friend had like a similar conversation with animes, because we were talking about Cowboy Bebop, and it's like, how long does it take until it's considered classic? And then I started like one of the classic rock stations I used to listen to when I did listen to radio, they had Metallica songs. Metallica is like 30, 40 years old, and they considered that classic. So, I mean...
Yeah, I guess Red Hot Chili Peppers could be considered classic.
I can see someone making that argument, but at least in the classic radio stations that I listen to, I don't think I heard Red Hot Chili Peppers pop up, because they might be like... I mean, the perfect genre, I think, to call them is probably like 90s classic, because that would be them in spades right there, in my opinion. Because most of their hits seem to came out in the 90s, from what I remember.
I'll take your word on that. I didn't do that much research. Metallica was 81.
81, 83-ish. I forget when the band formed, and I forget when they came out with their first album.
Band formed in 81.
Okay, so yeah, that was when the band formed, and then I think it was 83 when they came out with Kill 'Em All.
Yes, it doesn't matter. Yes, 83. Yeah, that was 83 when it came out. Yeah. So anyway, I picked them. The songs were "Give It Away," "Danny California," "By the Way," and "Can't Stop." Now, I'll be completely on. Liv, you ever have you heard of Red Hot Chili Peppers before?
I think I told a friend this, and I don't think they believe me, but there's an old cartoon that got a movie called Beavis and Butthead Do America, and the song Roller Coaster, I believe, was performed, that particular version was performed by Red Hot Chili Peppers. And when I said that, they didn't believe me. But I forget where I seen that, but I thought I saw that was that version that you hear in Do America is from Red Hot Chili Peppers. But yeah, I have heard their songs in the 90s. I remember clear as day. What was that one hit? You just said it too. I think it was the first one on your list.
Give It Away?
Yeah, I think it was Give It Away. Everywhere you went, you either saw that music video or you heard that song all the time. So, yeah, I think that was the song I most commonly remember. I wasn't too familiar with Can't Stop. I'm pretty sure I heard Danny California.
Yeah. Funny thing.
Mm-hmm.
Until I actually took like a solid minute of staring at the title, it never registered it's Danny California. I always thought it was Dana. D-A-N-A. California.
Yeah.
I always thought it was Dana, California. It's Danny, California. Which I was like, oh, well, apparently I've just been thinking it was another name. I legitimately thought it was Dana, California.
Yeah, I think
also,
I
if you
had
could
similar.
sum up Red Hot Chili Peppers in one word, it's California.
Well, I think they are from California, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. And a lot of California in their songs, and Los Angeles as well. So yeah, what did you think?
They're just classic. I think alternative rock would be is what they probably would be more well known for. They're just classic 90s rock. I remember hearing a lot of them in the 90s.
It is some alternate rock.
I don't know. It's a band that I definitely heard of. Never really struck too much of a chord with me, but it's not bad. I'm pretty sure I did like them at the time, but I kind of grew on from it. There's a lot of bands like that I could think of to where I kind of liked them at one point or another, and I just kind of grew into like other genres. But Give It Away is just kind of like just a absolute classic. So it's pretty good if you're into like alternative rock, but I haven't really heard too much of them since. So, but they are definitely classic 90s. They did it very well back then. Okay, so it was 83 is when they got started. 83, and they still go today. So that's kind of awesome. But yeah, I don't really have too much of an opinion, good or bad, but I will definitely say they were the sound of the 90s at one point, for sure.
Yeah, they definitely are part of that core group of like 80s, 90s sort of groups that made like with it's sort of like during the golden age of rock music.
I don't know if I would say golden age.
It was a damn good age. The 80s and 90s were 90s rock music was great.
I want to say that Red Hot Chili Peppers, I'm pretty sure they were also doing like rap metal, new metal stuff, and I can't really think of too many bands that started new metal and still went through, because a lot of them died off. Because like I can't remember when Limp Bizkit did like a really great song. I think they even disbanded, didn't they?
No idea. Couldn't name a single Limp Bizkit song.
Keep Rolling. What was that other one? Shit. That was like early 2000s. It's this, I'm kind of looking at the Wikipedia right now, and that's there. I'm seeing Kid Rock, Limp Bizkit, and Linkin Park, and it's like, yeah, they were kind of like in that same genre at that same time. And apparently Limp Bizkit recently got back together. So sadly, I always kind of felt like new metal was like the age of like kind of like how grunge was back in the 90s, because that was really popular and that kind of died off. No, it's just my opinion anyway. And who cares? I'm just some random guy on the internet.
Yeah. But you got a podcast though.
Oh shit, we do. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm part of a prestigious podcast. We have like at least one viewer. Like we have like one viewer that watches us consistently, and like maybe some other lurkers. So you should listen to our stuff. Like totally taken seriously, our opinions on music, and we have an entire segment dedicated to that.
Oh, man. Well, I guess, there's nothing... Well, I guess there actually is one last thing I thought of, but, is there anything that you could, think of, kind of like last bit of note to, sign off here, before we sign off? You don't take us seriously anyway. Good one, Josh.
Yeah, good one. Ban Josh A98. Anyway,
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you had any like last minute thoughts before we.
No.
Okay.
None.
I think before we end, I was watching something and I just got the idea. How come we never thought of this before? Why don't we do kind of like I don't know. My original idea was kind of something similar to Artist of the Week, but it's something kind of different. What if we did game recommendations? Because
I feel like we do that a lot just in us talking on this podcast.
Because
we
like
talk about video games a lot.
Because like I can't remember the last time except for today mentioning like Hotline Miami, and I thought if we actually did video game recommendations, that would give us like an opportunity to kind of like mention those games. Oh no, it's just a thought.
It might need a little more shopping, but it has potential.
Anyway, that was just kind of like something I kind of thought of, like just kind of like just different games that we played that is probably not one of our favorites per se, but it's definitely a game that we had fun with and enjoyed. This is a really good game called Payday 2. I can only suggest it. Alright, I can't think of any last minute stuff, so... Dark, what's going on over on your channel these days?
Oh man, Yakuza 0's going on my channel. Which I think I'll probably just play Yakuza 0 up to next Friday when XCOM Chimera Squad comes out, and then we'll be playing that for I don't know how long, depends on how long it takes me to play the game, beat it, do everything I want to do in it. Then after that, I don't know, but Yakuza is definitely going to be a on-off thing, and I'll just have to think of like other things to do, which I have other things I'd like to do on stream, but I just never feel up to doing them. So yeah, what I could say is Yakuza up to Friday, then it'll be XCOM Chimera Squad.
Nice. As for me, gonna be doing actually a small little stream after the podcast. Just be doing some Iron Sight, just kind of hang out, do whatever, and then kind of end the day, and then hopefully tomorrow pick up where we left off with Halo for Sunday, and possibly continue on with Halo hopefully on Wednesday as well, and until I complete Combat Evolve and Reach, we'll go ahead and see what those games are like, and then hopefully wait until some more news of updates, and then we'll go on to the next, and so on and so forth, till we go through all Halo games. So far, having fun with it, so I'm looking forward to seeing how I kind of feel after completing it. But yeah, that's kind of it with me. Just kind of Halo and just see what happens. Right? Yeah. So I guess that's a podcast.
It was.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying it was a podcast.
Ah.
Totally. We called it such, therefore it is a podcast.
Well, I was saying it in the sense of like, well, that's another one in the books.
Yeah, I know.
The next podcast would be on May 2nd. So, Dark's going to be hosting it. Hopefully it would be something interesting. Hopefully we'll have more Yakuza and Halo to talk about. Hopefully by then I would have both Reach and Combat Evolve all done, so definitely.
I don't imagine it will take you the full 2 weeks to do both those on stream.
So I'm definitely going to be just looking forward to that and just see what happens. Hear my opinions on it.
Same.
Alright. The stream will go down, but it would come back up. And there'll probably be some music. And I'll start my Iron Sight stream, and we'll kind of just take it from there. And I just now realized I think I don't have a proper title for my YouTube, so I gotta edit that at some point. So yeah, that's a podcast. On behalf of me and Dark, we appreciate everybody showing up to the stream. And it's always a pleasure entertaining you guys. And yeah, I guess we'll see you guys on May 2nd for another one. And that's it from us. So, thank you guys for hanging out with us. We'll see you May 2nd.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.